Welcome to the Living Chinuch podcast. In today's episode, we'll be discussing boundaries and consistency. So, Torah is full of boundaries. I mean, from the moment we wake up, the way we hold our hands to say Maida Ani, to which hand we wash first for Negel Vaser, all the way through cutting our nails, brachas before we eat, every single aspect of our day is taken care of and nicely guided by Hashem's will. And he tells us exactly how it's done from beginning to end. It's all in halacha, and it's the entire Torah. And not just our actions, but also our attitudes. Baruch Hashem, we have Chassidus, and we learn a lot. So boundaries are everywhere. And not only that, but as we've seen with modern day society, lack of boundaries leads to a lot of confusion. There's confusion to the point that people kill, people steal. Some people think it's okay and rightful and righteous to do so. So having those boundaries actually keep us safe. They keep us in a healthy place, and they keep us feeling confident that we're doing the right thing. So too for our kids. If we provide that safety and that security for our kids to know what is okay and what's not okay, then they will live a much happier, healthier, more confident life. They will actually live with this clarity that they're doing the right thing, and they can be proud of themselves when they're doing the right thing. And chas v'shalom, if they do make a mistake, they can know that it's a mistake, and they can learn how to grow from it and how to mature.
Some examples.
So some examples that we are discussing about, that we discuss about boundaries, are, for example, the concept that as a parent, when I speak, that thing happens. Not every parent has made that decision in their minds. I mean, there's times when parents just say, okay, come, we're going. Okay, we're going. We're going. Okay, one more time. I'm going to count down. And every single time that word is said and nothing happens, they don't have the boundaries of what is okay and what's not okay. Does my child actually have to listen to me or not? If the child doesn't know that, they don't know when you're serious. I remember somebody talking about having to clean their room. And the mother would say, okay, go clean your room. And not always did she really mean it, or not always did that person get caught if he did or didn't. So if he doesn't know, how is he supposed to realize, okay, this time my mommy's really going to get upset? And then after a few times of her saying, clean your room, clean your room, clean your room, and him not learning what the boundaries were, boom, it was an explosion. You have to clean your room. Now you're in big trouble. Da, 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 da. So if our kids don't have those boundaries, what is okay, what's not okay, they live with this fear of, maybe this one is okay, maybe this one's not okay. What's another example?
Yeah, so another example is like cleaning up. The kids spill something. The boundaries that you set are defined rules that the kid understands that there's certain things that he does and there's certain consequences. Just like for us, the simple example for us, why don't we ever make a mess on the floor? Why do we sit there and eat and spill everywhere and spill my food when I finish and leave my plate over there? Just walk off.
It's like take your entire thing and dump it on the floor, right?
Yeah. Why did I do that? As much as it might be fun to do, but we wouldn't do it. Why? Because we're going to have to clean it up. And that would be a hassle and a half. And maybe you do it once, but how many times are you going to do it before it's frustrating? It's worth it before you're not. With that, it's the same thing with our kids. What is stopping a kid from making a mess? If you could make a mess and someone else would clean it up, it wouldn't make a difference to you. The only reason why you wouldn't do it is maybe because it's embarrassing because you're acting like a kid, but you'd love to do it. And so too with a kid. When a kid is at an appropriate age that he can actually clean up to a certain extent, he has to learn that if he makes a mess, he cleans it. And that teaches him the skills of taking care of himself, which brings self-confidence and also gives him a very healthy boundaries. And kids love boundaries. It makes them feel they're like mature and things like this. And as a parent, it makes your life infinitely easier and your relationship with your kid infinitely better. Because your relationship with your kid is not this annoying person that's always making your best, that I'm running around cleaning it up after every time. It's so annoying. Whereas look how mature my kid is. He cleans up after himself. Such a good job. And the kid learns to be cleaner. Why? Because he doesn't want to make the mess and have to clean it up. So the cleaner that he is, the less of the mess, the less mess he has, which is the less he has to clean. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the, and this it applies to everything. We have spilling your food, cleaning up, when the kids play with the toys and they just make a mess and they don't clean it up, and parents clean it up, parents are like trying to be nice or whatever nice intentions they have, you're not teaching kids valuable skills of cleaning up after themselves. And then it's a hassle on a parent. It wears the parent out, and the kid is not maturing, and he's not getting the healthy boundaries that he needs. Whereas when a kid learns to clean up after himself, in any way you do it, and of course it doesn't have to be in a rough way, but in an empowering way that he has to understand that he or she is old enough to be able to clean and clean whatever you can do, and you go together. As a parent, it's easier for you, and as the child, he learns healthy boundaries, and he learns like I'm an adult. An adult cleans, I also clean. It
can be such a beautiful opportunity. All these boundaries are such a beautiful opportunity to give your child that positive reinforcement. Wow, look how beautiful you clean up your toys. Look how big you are, that you have your own toys and you take care of them. It helps them mature, it helps them feel special, helps them feel, I can put my shoulders up and I am something special. It's just really such a beautiful opportunity to share like that positive reinforcement with them. Another example is, for example, hitting and kicking or hitting and screaming. All of these things not necessarily they've become normalized in many different ways in our modern approach. And they become normalized. And what happens is that in many places, it's just like, oh, this is normal for kids. Kids make a mess. Kids hit and scream. Kids bite. Whatever it is, it's like it's the normal way to react to kids. And that's because we choose to not make that a boundary. The boundary could be, this is not okay. It's not okay to hit, and it's not okay to scream, and it's not okay to, make a big ruckus or climb up on top of something dangerous. We are able, as long as we decide as parents together, we decide what is okay and what's not okay. And that actually makes them feel healthier and safer. And it makes us feel healthier and safer because we know where our boundaries for them start and end, and we know that they'll keep them.
Yeah, and just a last point on one of the ways I see this play itself out is when you're walking down the street with kids and parents don't have boundaries in the sense of when they say something, the kid listens, kid walks, and they're young, they don't appreciate that there's a road and what the road entails, and the kid walks ahead, and the parents are like, hey, come, stop by the end, and I see it, you don't know how many times, like my heart just like drops, and I'm so scared, because the kid he doesn't listen, he doesn't understand, and like what the parent says is not necessarily going to happen, and you're looking, you're like, Hashem, please, and it's crazy, and I've seen so many situations like that. Whereas on the opposite hand, when the kid does listen, and you see a parent that the kid listens, the parent says, just stop, before the light, and the kid goes, he knows, you don't have to worry about him, you're not worried, he does, and he sits there like a mensch, and it's shema. I
also want to reiterate the fact that this starts at the youngest age possible. We don't wait till they're walking on the street by themselves to set these boundaries. It's the easiest thing when they're toddlers. Now is the time to instill in them, because you have that ability to pick them up and show them how it's meant to be done, as opposed to many people that wait till later, oh, whatever, right now they're just acting like a toddler. Later, I'll teach them how to do it. But later, they're so much more mature, they're bigger, it's much more of a struggle to teach them these things. So the youngest they are, even if they're just barely, they just started walking. So they should learn that when they walk with mommy or tati. With that, even a child that is just starting to be able to climb up to the high chair by themselves. So if they spill something, they have to come down, pick it up. Sometimes kids like have Cheerios or whatever, and they throw it over the edge. Come down, pick it up. They have to learn how to grab it, give it to mommy, climb back up. It takes a few extra minutes, but those extra minutes that you put in now are an incredible investment for your entire life, because you're not going to be picking up forks and Cheerios even when they're older. It ends there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Our kid is just going to the bathroom by himself. Anyway, we'll continue. So together with that, we move on. You continue.
Okay.
This is all part of it.
Okay. So how do we set those boundaries? Not only do we decide as parents, and again, we've spoken about this before, that we need to set that time together when both husband and wife, father, mother, sit down and decide, okay, my child is getting to this stage, whether it's toddlerhood, my child is learning how to walk, my child is learning how to climb up and down the stairs by themselves, whatever that is. I'm ready for my child to start sleeping in a toddler bed. You guys have to decide, what are the boundaries with a toddler bed? What are the boundaries with the stairs? When is it okay to go up the stairs and when is it not? What are the boundaries with going to shul? Let's say the child is getting old enough. Is it okay to scream in shul? Is it okay to kick? Is it okay to climb up a window thing or climb up a bookshelf? Is that okay or is it not okay? Because you guys both have to be on the same page and speaking the same language to the child. That is called boundaries. If he's getting mixed messages from both of you, then he's not getting boundaries. He's getting mixed messages. So too with this leads us to the next step, which is once you have those boundaries and you have decided in your own minds, okay, for our children, what I say goes, and if he doesn't listen or if she doesn't listen, what are we going to do about it? So too, now we have to set this level of consistency. Boundaries come with consistency, because if you set a boundary but you don't keep up with it, the child is not really learning much. The child is just learning. Sometimes when mommy says clean the room, it means something, and sometimes it doesn't. That doesn't mean boundaries. It means lack of consistency and confusion for them. So for them to know what's yes and what's no, what's okay and what's not okay, it has to be steady and consistent for you, which means every single time you speak, that thing has to happen. Every single time you ask for something, or every single time they drop their fork, that they have to go back down and they have to climb up and pick it up themselves. Consistency is key, because that sets the boundaries and that solidifies them.
I didn't hear everything you said about consistency, but consistency is the key to everything. Consistency within ourselves, saying for our own lives, but infinitely more for our children. When your children know that you say something and it's going to happen, no matter what, that first time, you'll change the dynamic of your relationship with the kids. When we started understanding this, my father told me about this, and he's like, you have to be consistent. Whatever you say, be careful with what you say, because if you say it, you have to do it. And when I started doing it, and I was careful, I had to work on what I said. A lot of times we say things that aren't really doable. Like sometimes, as you say, if you do that, you can never go back to the park ever again. What does that mean? Is you actually going to never let him get back to the park? No, but you say, if you do that, you're going to have to come and wait by me until we go, or you have to wait for a few minutes, because that's not how we behave. And if the kid doesn't believe that what you're saying is actually going to happen, then your words are meaningless.
Yeah. So for example, if you say, oh, if you do that, then we're leaving the park right now, but you're not actually going to leave the park, that does not mean anything for them. They learn that your words don't mean anything.
Or another example is, sometimes your kid doesn't want to leave the park and you want to go. So I had it in the past with my oldest son, Livik, the tzaddik. And I said, we're leaving. He's like, oh, I don't want to leave. I said, I'm leaving. And I started going. And I could tell he wasn't sure what's going to happen. And he knew that when I say something, I hold true. And so as I turned, I could still see him. I kept an eye on him, and he was looking at me to see if I was serious about what I'm saying. And I kept on going. I went slow to give him a chance to show that I'm serious. And as I kept on going, he ran after me, freaking out that I'm actually leaving, because I was leaving. But he knew that when I say I'm leaving, he'll stop what he's doing. I say, Leivik, I'm leaving, and I start walking, he's coming. And unfortunately, a lot of parents, they don't have it. So it's you fight back and forth. We're going. And every time you say it, you're losing that opportunity to show them what's real. And once you have that, and once you have the consistency of what you're saying, your whole relationship with your kids change, because then you can say, come, let's go, come, let's learn, come, let's eat, come, let's go to bed. And you don't have to fight about every little detail. And
for them, they feel safe. They know that this is true. They don't know, oh, sometimes when I push the button, sometimes it goes one way or goes another. And then, oh, the unexpected happened. This time she was upset. This time she wasn't upset. They know, okay, this is what happens when mommy says this. Like, it's clear. It's kind of like, red lights and green lights at the stop, like when you're driving. Like, you know what you're meant to do, and it's clear. There's no confusion there.
I read a study that they said that they studied people about incarceration. What got people to follow the law wasn't so much the punishment. That didn't make the difference. It was more the chance of getting caught. When a person felt that he was for sure going to get caught, even if the punishment was relatively less, they still follow. Whereas, and you think about it, you term, I'm going to get away with it. People speed. Why? Because you're not always going to get caught when you speed. If every time you went over the speed limit by 10 miles and you got a ticket, a magic thing, you got a ticket, no one would speed. And it's the consistency is key. Really, you can't stress it enough. And when your kids learn that you have that consistency, everything will change. And the best way to do it is stick to small things, little things that you can. Also, you have to ask yourself, can I actually stick to it? And if I can't, then I should avoid it. But if it's a little thing like a kid dropping something mess on the floor, and you say, "Oh, we're not eating. We'll eat dinner once we get into pajamas." If your kid is consistent, if your kid knows he doesn't know you're consistent, you can start like that, and he'll say, "Oh no, whatever." And you say, "Listen, you have the dinner, you have control over the food." And you just say, no, you're not getting it. And he'll, in the beginning especially, he might make a big fuss about it because he's not used to it. And he thinks to himself, if I just push them enough, I cry enough, I annoy them enough, they'll give in. But when you have the resolve within you, and you say, you don't have to keep on repeating it. You don't have to say a million times, listen, you're not getting it until you get dinner. You say it once, maybe twice, and just make sure it's clear. Once you get in pajamas, you can have dinner. And that's it. And your kid will, in the beginning, it takes some time because he's not used to this. But once he gets used to it, straight he's going. When I was a counselor in Mesilas Shabbos years ago, I tried to be consistent, and I ended up having so many rules I just couldn't be consistent with them. It was too complex. I don't remember all of them. And one week, and I used to go every week speak to my father. He taught me a lot of this stuff, basically everything. And I said to him, "This is crazy. I don't know how to do this." And then I said, "I only have one rule. It's simple, one rule. I say everything only once." And we used to get, in the end, snack. They get some chips and a drink. So I'd say, there's only one rule. I say everything only once. If I have to say it twice, you miss some part of the refreshments. And I realized that would solve all my issues. You just have to listen to me, whatever I'm saying. And I went to my co-counselor. I told him this. I said, listen, we have to pay attention to whoever's going to not follow, and he's going to have to miss out. And that way, everyone will learn this is real. And the first week, I said it, and I said, everyone please come and sit over here. And I looked around, and a few guys, I remember the first week, maybe there was 5 people that missed out. Then I said it again, and then I paid attention. I said, you're missing a part of your refreshments. And they were like, oh, I think he might be serious. I'm not sure, so I better go. So the first week, 5 people missed. When it came to the refreshment time, they missed. They were like, oh. I said, I asked you something once, and you didn't listen, so you missed a part of your refreshments. The next week, those 3 people missed that, and from that point on, and it was a machaya to see 15 kids just move wherever you tell them to go, and whatever you want to do.
And they felt safe. It wasn't like, oh, we're being a tyrannical.
They loved it. One of the guys, I know him now. He's married. He has a kid already, and he's like, yeah, I remember you were my counselor. This was grade 4. At least what is that? 20 years ago.
Many years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And really, consistency. It's hard in the beginning, but if you stick with it, it will change. And also, just a last point, at least my end, the last point is that together with this, you might come and say, oh, it's going to be very negative. It might come a little bit of a negativity in the beginning because of it, but together with it, the best thing you can do is spend quality time with your kids. Quality time doesn't mean it's a good start without your phone, but it means paying attention. We try to go out on Sundays together with the family. Sometimes we don't always manage to. I realized that this quality time thing, I went with my kids and said, come, we'll go play in the room together. I'm at work most of the day and I don't get to play with them so much. We just played together. And I was totally involved, I wasn't on my phone at all. And I said, how was the day? And they're like, oh, this was the best. We didn't go in anywhere. We didn't go out. We didn't get buy anything. We sat at home and played quality time. And there's so many times my kids will tell me, can you come play with me? I'm like, I don't want to play with these Legos. But I realized he doesn't care about the Legos. He cares about me spending the quality time with him. And I also realized when they tell me stories, kids tell stories and you're half listening and you had your work there and you're out of it. And I started to pay attention. Think about it as it's like you're in a business meeting and it's important. And I listen and then you hear the story. You're like, what? One second. What does that mean? When you're doing that as well every day for a good 20 minutes, then those few times that you have to be strict and you follow through, it finishes everything. And also positive reinforcement. When your kid does do the right thing, you shower the compliments. We have one of our kids shown there. Now a new thing we talked to him about being mature. And suddenly everything is like, you're careful the way you eat. You're becoming so much more mature. The smile on his face is priceless. And he loves doing everything that's making him more mature. And that's, add also, it's not just to being negative things. Yeah.
And this is for every age. Even if your child's not old enough to speak yet, but the more you're consistent and you tell them things, you speak to them, you say, okay, mommy's saying this, and you follow through with it in a loving way. And when we walk together, you hold mommy's hand every single time, and you say it to them. You're constantly reinforcing to them that this is how it is. And the older they become, the more they move into this groove. Like this is the way, this is the way our lives work. So I think that a lot we covered this week, but I hope it was helpful. And
2 main points: boundaries and consistency.
Yes, and that positive reinforcement of quality time. And we hope to see you again next time. And if you'd like these and you enjoy more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And click the bell.
Yes.